start kneeling, if that's comfortable. If not, you can just sit in an easy cross-legged position. You could even get a little, if kneeling is uncomfortable, you could get a little cushion and place that under your knees. Or you could also take the cushion and you could place it between your calves and your thighs to give you a little bit of extra height. You could put a block under your bottom as well. That makes it a bit more comfortable. And let's start here to begin with. You could put your palms facing up, the hands on your lap, and just sit here, rolling our shoulders up and back and down. Just sitting here, kneeling, big toes touching. And just breathing here. We're going to close our eyes. And arriving on our mats in this moment, being present, not thinking too much about what's happened before or what we're doing after this class today. Noticing where we're feeling our breath, whether we're feeling it more in our belly or in our ribs or in our chest, where the movement is, not changing anything, just witnessing it now. Deepening the breath, breathing in and out through the nose. Relaxing the muscles around our eyes, not squinting. See if we can deepen our breath a bit more. Breathing into our abdomen and our ribs and our chest, our collarbones. Feeling how on the exhale, the breath just seems to seep away. The inhale feeling a lot more active. The exhale, a lot smoother, less finite. Inhaling and exhaling. At the end of the next exhale, we're going to blink our eyes open. And today we're going to start by mobilizing our feet a bit. So for that, we're going to just rock forward, maybe placing our hands under our shoulders, and we're going to tuck our toes. And we're going to sit back on our heels now, and try to sit as try to bring your big toes to touch, if that's possible, and for your feet, for your anatomy, and try to rock back as much. Like have your torso over your hips and over your heels, rather than leaning forward a bit. That tendency is there a little bit that you think you're properly sitting here, but actually you're moving forward a bit and taking that body weight out of your heels. And we're just going to sit here for a moment. And if you want to play around with it a little bit, see how it feels when you move your heels apart and when you move them together. I personally find that when my heels are together, the stretch is a lot more in the big toe joint of my foot. And when I move it apart, I can, the little toes get onto the mat more, and I feel the stretch more also on the outside of the feet. If you want, you could also get your cushion. If that's uncomfortable on your knees, you could get a cushion or a block and place that under your knees if that's more comfortable. I'm just going to sit here for a little while longer. I personally find this excruciating after a while, but I think this is really important that we're keeping our feet mobile and happy as well. And I haven't been so good the last couple of days, But I've started doing this every morning for like a minute or two, and then trying to do it maybe midday and definitely in the evening again for a little bit to really get my feet mobile. And you'll see in a moment when we get into our sun salutations and into our plank, it really changes how you feel in plank when your toe joints are mobile. If you can bear sitting here for another moment, sit here for a little bit longer. I should have timed how long we're doing this. I'm not entirely sure how long we're sitting here, but try to sit here as long as you can. Maybe for another 5 breaths. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Really breathing into that stretch, being comfortable in this discomfort that you're feeling. And at the end of the next exhale, we're going to rock forward, place our hands under our shoulders, and we're going to untuck our toes, relieving that stretch. If you had a cushion or a block, we're going to put that to the side. And we're going to sit kneeling again. I'm going to do a little counter stretch here now, if you can. So we're going to place our hands with little like sort of 10 fingers either side of our hips. We're sitting again with our feet pointing back in this kneeling pose in Virasana. And we're going to rock back and we're going to lift our knees off the mat. And if you've got the balance here, we're stretching now the back of the foot. You can bring your hands into heart center and just sit here leaning back, feeling that stretch in the opposite direction. I'm just going to sit here for 3 breaths. If you can't have that balance, you can have your hands on the ground the whole time. And calming down gently. We're going to slide to the side and we're going to sit with our legs stretched out in front of us. And we're now going to continue with our feet, and you can place your hands just sort of maybe slightly behind you. Make sure you're sitting really nice and tall. And we're going to flex our toes, and then we're going to point our toes. Flex our toes, point them as much as you can like a ballerina. Flex. Imagine you want to get your big toes to touch your shins. Obviously not going to happen, but really flex, maybe lifting the heels off the mat. Point really extremely. Flex. Point. Flex. Point. Maybe 3 more. Flex, point, flex, point. Last one, flex and point. Now we're going to sit with our toes are flexed, and we're going to stretch our toes out as much as we can, like fan them out, and then we're going to scrunch our toes in, like we're trying to pick something off the floor, like you're making fists with your toes, and spread them out and grab your toes, bring them in, stretch them out and curl them in, stretch them out and curl them in, stretch them out, curl them in. One more time, stretch out and curl in. Really nice. Bring your knees in a little bit and maybe lifting your feet off, just wiggling your feet a little bit, releasing your calf muscles. You would have felt it at the top of the calf and maybe the back. And giving yourself a little hug here, hugging your knees in. If you find it difficult to balance, you can bring your toes, your big toes to the mat, just hugging yourself. And releasing. We're going to come into tabletop. And we're going to start with our wrist mobilization, what we've been doing all along. So we're going to bring our hands under our elbows and shoulders, hands hip, shoulder width apart, knees hip width apart, and under our hips. And we're going to start by rocking forward and back, making the movements as big as you want, really moving forward, maybe coming into a little child's pose if that feels good, or really small movements if that feels better for you today. whatever you need. Just waking up our wrists. And maybe one more. And coming into center. Going to turn our hands in so the fingers are pointing to the knees. Maybe really stepping your hands in. Thumbs are to the outside of the mat and rocking back and forward here as well. Very gently. This is a lot more intense, as you can feel. And maybe two more. 1 and 2. And coming into center. Placing the hands back to how they were before. One more stretch. So we're going to bring the back of our hand to the mat. So we're flipping the back of the hand to the mat. The fingers are pointing to our knees. Palm is facing us. We're doing that one hand at a time. I'm rocking here. Really spreading our fingers nice and wide. Trying to press your fingers into the mat. And feeling that stretch in the back of the hand. And coming into center. Flipping that hand over. Other hand does the same thing. Palm facing us, fingers to the knees and rocking here, fingers stretched out nice and wide. And coming to center, placing the hand to how it was again. And we're going to come into cat-cow. So setting our tabletop up properly, so hands under shoulders, elbows, wrists and shoulders in line, knees under hips, hip width apart the knees. And on the inhale, going to arch our back, bottom to the ceiling, looking to the ceiling as well, maybe bending those elbows a little bit if that feels good. Exhale, pushing through the arms, rounding the shoulders, shoulder blades apart, rounding the back, looking to our belly button, chin to chest. Inhale, arching the back, shoulder blades together, shoulders still away from the ears, looking up. Exhale, rounding the back, tucking the pelvis in, chin to chest, sucking in the belly. Inhale, arching, looking to the ceiling. Imagine you've got a baby elephant sitting on your back, really weighing heavy. Exhale, pushing the ground away, really pushing with your hands into the ground, rounding that back. One more of each one. Inhale, coming into our cow, arching the back. Exhale, rounding the back, coming into an angry cut. And coming into center at the end of that exhale. Going to stretch our shoulders. On the inhale, we're going to raise our left arm, opening our chest to the left side of the room, looking to the ceiling. And exhale, we're threading the needle and placing our cheek down. If you want, you can stretch that right hand out in front of you. Imagine you're pressing the right armpit to the ground. That intensifies the stretch in that right shoulder. Staying here for one more breath. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, we're placing that right hand in front of our face again if we moved it. Inhale, coming up, opening the left chest, the chest to the left again. Exhale, hand down. Other side. Inhale, we're raising the right arm now, opening our chest to the right. Exhale, threading the needle. Right cheek down to the ground. If you want, you can straighten that left arm, imagining pressing the left armpit closer to the ground and breathing here. Inhale and exhale, placing that left hand in front of the face. Inhale, coming up, and exhale, hand down. Lovely. We're going to tuck our toes now. We're going to press into our first downward dog, really gently here. We're just going to walk our feet, bending one leg, the straight leg. We're trying to press the heel down to the mat and changing over, bending the other leg, straightening the other one, bringing that heel closer to the mat. Walking the dog like that a little bit. And once you feel your calves are a little bit softer, let's come to center. Setting this first down dog up properly so that we've got it for the class. There's not going to be a whole lot of down dogs. Our hands are shoulder width apart, fingers really nice and wide. We're pressing through the heel of the hand, the knuckles where the fingers meet the hand, also the knuckles of the fingers. So pressing through the whole hand to protect our wrists. Arms are nice and straight. The shoulders are away from the ears, shoulder blades are pushing apart, so we've got this capital U horseshoe shape in our arms. Pressing back, our back is nice and flat. If that means we have to bend our knees, that's perfectly fine. Feet are hip width apart, toes pointing forward, feet are in line with the side of the mat, so the heels are not coming in or going out, the feet are parallel to the edges of the mat. And we're looking towards the space between our big toes. Stay here for one more breath, becoming aware, noting how we're set up. And with the next inhale, we're going to slowly start to walk forward, but one baby step at a time, coming forward, keeping our feet hip width apart, having the feet behind our hands, and just hanging here for a moment with bent knees. Just hanging here in this really gentle forward fold, starting to feel the stretch in the back of our legs. If you want, you can start swaying from side to side, straight, stretching one leg a bit more as you sway, then stretching the other. If you want, you can drag your fingers over the ground like you're drawing a rainbow with your fingertips. Seeing if you can bring your fingertips a little behind your heels as you sway, waking up our lower back. And coming into center again, just hanging here for a moment and bending our knees a bit more, chin to chest, and we're going to roll up. And we're rolling up from our lower back, middle back, and we start to straighten our legs. The last thing that comes up is the chin of the chest, so our legs are straighter, rolling up to the upper back, shoulders up, back and down, and then lifting the chin off. Great. Just moving things around so you can see me. Cool. Lovely, great. Stand here, maybe moving our shoulders a little bit. Standing feet shoulder width apart. Just moving one shoulder up and back, other shoulder up and back. Bringing our body with us. Really nice, really gentle movement here. And moving the other way, so bringing the shoulder forward and moving that way. A little bit of movement in the upper body. And coming to stillness. Lovely. So today it's very hot both in Europe and in the UK, so this is going to be quite a gentle session. I'm going to do 2 sun salutations just to warm us up, and after that I don't really want to go like a lot of up and down. I don't want us to bring our head below our hip line because that might make us feel a bit dizzy. And also normally during yoga classes we're trying to build up heat and create that heat to make us flexible. Today it's so hot already. If you need to drink water, if you need to take a break, do so. Child's pose is always there for you, and just take a break when you need to. Let's come to the front of our mat, stand in Tadasana. So we're going to bring our feet together, toes touching, or if you find it more comfortable, you can also stand with feet hip width apart. But let's bring them together. I like to stand with my feet together, lifting all our toes off the mat and spreading them out. Again, thinking of that mobility in our toes and lowering one toe at a time, starting with the pinky toe, the little toe, the fourth toe, the middle toe, the second toe, and the big toe. Maybe lifting our heels off the mat a little bit and placing those down. So we've got really nice firm grounding. We're engaging our Mula Bandha, pelvic fold, perineum, Uddiyana Bandha, abdominal lock, to be nice and firm here, that when we come into our forward folds, we're protecting our lower back. Rolling our shoulders up and back and down, palms facing forward, and we're looking forward, chin slightly tucked, standing here. It's really solid, standing pose, Tadasana, standing solid like the mountain. With the inhale, we're going to raise our arms over our head, looking towards our thumbs if that's comfortable. Exhale, we're folding down, nice flat back here. Hands either side of the feet. If you need to bend your knees, then please do. Inhale, half forward fold, hands to shins, looking down to the mat. Hands down, stepping back with the right foot, followed by the left foot. Just standing here, being here in plank, staying in plank for a moment, and maybe feeling how do your toe joints feel. Do you feel a little bit more bouncy? Do you feel that it's that flexion in your toe joints? It's a bit more, I find it after that toe stretch, it just feels different. It feels more solid. I feel like I can get my little toes down a bit more. Great. Bring your knees down. On the exhale, chest and chin down. And inhale, sliding into our cobra pose. Shoulders back and down, elbows into the body. Looking forward. Exhale, pressing into our down dog and staying here for a moment. In down dog, if you need to step your feet in a little bit, please do. And seconding it up how we did a moment ago. So hands shoulder width apart, fingers spread out, pressing the whole hand into the ground. And we're bringing our shoulder blades apart, maybe bringing our forehead a bit closer to the mat, flat back, looking through the space between our toes. Staying here for another breath or two. Aiming to get those heels closer to the mat, engaging our calves, our hamstrings, our quads, but if you can't get your heels to the ground, that's not important at all. That's just the aim. That's just the direction we're going. Next inhale, we're going to bend our knees. Exhale, we're stepping forward with the right foot, followed by the left foot. Inhale, half forward fold, hands to shins, looking down. Exhale, full forward fold, hands by the side of the feet, bending the knees if you need to. Inhale, engaging our abdominals, engaging the pelvic floor and coming up with a flat back. Hands overhead. And exhale, hands onto heart center. Lovely. Other side. Inhale, raising the arms. Exhale, engaging the abs. Lowering down, full forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, half forward fold, hands to shins. Exhale, hands down, stepping back with the left foot, followed by the right foot into plank, feet a little bit apart, hip width apart. Again, pressing in our plank. The shape of the arms is pretty much the same as in our down dog. Shoulder blades are pressing apart, we're pressing the ground away, shoulders away from the ears, that capped or U shape. Exhale, we're lowering knees, chest and chin. Inhale, sliding forward into our cobra, Bhujangasana, toes untucked, pointing back, elbows into the body, shoulders blades together, shoulders away from the ears, looking forward, engaging the back muscles. Exhale, tucking the toes, pressing into our down dog, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Maybe stepping in, pressing into the ground, pressing the ground away. Breathing here. With the inhale, we lengthen. With the exhale, maybe we can push a bit deeper into the pose. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, maybe melt a bit deeper. And the going deeper on the exhale could mean bringing your heels closer to the mat, bring your forehead closer to the mat. On next inhale, we're bending our knees, stepping forward with the left foot, followed by the right foot. Inhale, hands to shins, looking down, half forward fold. Exhale, full forward fold, hands by the side of the feet, maybe straightening the legs a bit more, as the hamstrings get warmer. Inhale, engaging our bandhas, coming up, flat back, protecting our lower back. Hands together overhead. Inhale, hands into heart center. Lovely. One more sun salutation, just to warm up those muscles a bit more, and then we'll be moving into quite a static, more hatha style yoga practice. So we're inhaling, arms up, overhead. Exhale, folding down, hands by the side of the feet. Uttanasana, full forward fold. Inhale, hands to shins. Exhale, hands down, stepping back with the right foot as far as you can, followed by the left foot in our plank. Lowering on the exhale, knees, chest and chin down to the ground. Inhale, sliding forward into our cobra. Exhale, pushing back into our down dog. Staying here for 3 breaths. Again, stepping in if you have to. Inhale and exhale, pushing into the hands. Inhale, exhale, pushing those heels to the ground. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, pressing the shoulder blades apart. Imagine you want to get your armpits closer to the mat. One more breath here, inhale, exhale. Inhale, we're bending our knees. Exhale, stepping forward with the right foot, followed by the left foot. Inhale, hands to shins. Exhale, full forward fold, hands by the side of the feet. And in full forward fold, imagine you're pushing the mat forward with your hands. That means that you can maybe straighten your legs a little more. And on the inhale, engaging the abs and coming up flat back. Hands overhead and hands into heart center. Lovely. Last sun salutation. Inhale, hands together overhead. As our hands touch, we're pulling our shoulders away from the ears. Always aiming to have the shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, folding down, flat back. Full forward fold. Imagine again pushing those hands forward. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, hands down, stepping back with the left foot as far as you can, followed by the right foot into our plank, pushing the ground away as if someone's throwing it at you. Exhale, knees, chest, and then chin down in our 8-point pose, bottom in the air, Ashtangasana. Inhale, sliding forward, cobra, elbows in, shoulders back, feet pointing back. Exhale, tucking the toes and pushing back into our down dog. Stepping in a little bit if you want to. Looking at your feet. Flat back. Focusing on the breath here. As it's a very hot day today, if you need to exhale through the mouth or breathe in and out through the mouth a little bit, that's perfectly fine to cool yourself down. And with the next inhale, we're bending our knees. Exhale, stepping the left foot forward, followed by the right. Inhale, half forward fold, hands to shins, looking down, flat neck. Exhale, hands down either side of the feet, pushing the hands forward and bringing the forehead as close as we can to our shins. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, hands into heart center. Lovely, everyone. Where I am, I'm sort of in the semi-basement. It's the coolest room in the house and it's already really warm, so I can't imagine how it must be for you guys. All right, let's have a look what we're doing next. Cool. Okay, so as I said, this is going to be more of a hatha style class. So meaning that we start our poses, we just step into the poses from the front of the mat rather than adding them to the sun salutation, so that we are already warm, it's boiling outside, we don't need to heat ourselves up so much. So let's step back with the right foot, quite a long step back. You want to have your heel of the front foot and the heel of the back foot or the inside edge of the foot in line. The front foot is pointing forward and we're coming into a warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. So we're bending the front knee, And we're lifting our arms at shoulder level. You want to have your body in line with the long edge of your mat. So nice flat body. If you're looking at your chest, you want it to be really flat and in line with your mat. You also want to make sure that your knee is over your ankle. If it's really far beyond it, as you can see with me now, that's not very good. That's not safe for your knee. What you can do is you can walk your front foot over if you want a further forward if you want a longer stance. But keeping our knees safe is really important. Arms are at shoulder level and we're looking to the front middle finger. We're just staying here for a moment. We want to have our torso over our hip. So if that means, like a lot of the times the tendency is to lean forward a little bit. Imagine someone is pulling you by the front hand and another person is pulling you by the back hand, and you're sort of in equilibrium in the middle. Really nice. Just staying here for another moment or two. Feeling a stretch in our left and right hip flexor, actually, inner thighs. Feeling our muscles working, heating up, maybe shaking a little bit. Staying here, keeping that focus on the front middle finger. We're building concentration and focus, one pose at a time, a couple of breaths at a time. Yoga is not just good for your body, but it's also good for your mind, building that concentration. And the next inhale, we're lowering our arms, we're stretching that front leg, and we're going to do a variation on Chikanasana. So we're going to raise our arms again, and on the inhale, imagine someone's really pulling you by that front hand now. Really pulling you. But we're staying here. We're not going into this variation where we're folding down. I want us to stay here, keeping our head nice and high so that we don't get dizzy, but we still want to have our hips and shoulders stacked. So you probably have to move a little bit. Move your torso a little bit, because the tendency is that your chest is facing the ground. What I want you to do is make your body flat. Imagine you're between two planes of glass here, and you're stretching out. If you want, you can bring your bottom hand onto your shins. By stretching that hand out, you're really working your core. And if you then want to bring your other hand overhead, that's working your core even more. Stay here for 2 breaths. 1 and 2. Bringing your top hand, the right hand, on our hip and coming up. Lovely. Both hands on our hips. Going to bring our walk, our back foot in a little bit, and then we can step forward. Lovely. I'm going to do the other one from the back of my mat now so you can see me. We're standing at the front of our mat again. I'm taking a big step back, this time with the left foot. And we're again making sure that the front heel of the foot that's pointing forward is in line with either the back heel or the inside edge of the foot. And inhale, we're bending that front knee into our warrior. Again, if your knee's coming forward massively, just walk your foot forward a little bit, unbending the knee, walking it forward. So we've got a longer stance here. Our chest is in line with the long edge of the mat. Arms at shoulder level, shoulders down though. And if we're leaning forward a little bit, imagine someone's also pulling you by that back hand. So you're nice equilibrium. The torso is directly over your hips. Making sure that you can see your front big toes. And staying here, looking towards your front middle fingers. Lovely. Breathing here, in and out through the nose. Feeling our thighs working, our bum working, the stretch in our inner thighs and our hip flexors. And with the next inhale, we'll bring our hands down, straightening that front leg. And again, we're coming into this variation of our triangle that we've done a moment ago. So we're raising our arms, and someone is pulling us by that front hand. We're going as far forward as we can until we can't go any further. And then we're staying here, but we're stacking, we're making us flat, stacking the side of our body, of our torso over our legs. And staying here, either bringing our left hand on our hip, or if you want to go a bit further, working your core even more, you can raise it over, looking towards our top hand maybe, and staying here for 2 breaths in this really intense pose. 2, left hand on our hip, and coming forward, walking that back foot in a little bit, and stepping to the front of our mat. Lovely. Beautiful. From here, we're stepping back with our right foot, if you can see me all right that way. And we're going to bring both our feet to point in the direction that we're looking. So actually, you want them more to point to the corners of your mat, actually. Sorry about that. You stand as wide as you can, as wide as comfortable. We're going to come into a really nice wide-legged squat into this goddess pose. So we're bending our knees. You want to make sure that your knees are, if you want, bring your hands just over your knees, and you want to make sure that your knees are not falling in too much. Not like, if you can see this from the side, like it's the difference between this, where we're rolling onto the ball of the big toe, versus where our knees are nice and wide. So pushing our knees out a little bit, bringing the weight into the whole foot, into the little toe side of the foot, not just into the ball of the big toe. Once we're settled here, to raise our hands, and we can either bring them into heart center, trying to have our torso over our hip, or you can come into this Gyan Mudra, bringing your index finger and thumb together. Gyan Mudra is a hand gesture for wisdom, creates that little circle between your fingers, which sort of circulating your energy within you. Staying here for one more breath, a couple of breaths more. If you want, on the inhale, you can go a little bit deeper, intensifying that stretch, working your legs even harder. Inhale, exhale to go deeper one more time, and inhale, we're straightening those legs, hands into heart center. We're stepping forward. Lovely. Now we're going to step into the middle of the mat again, front of the mat. We're going to step back with our right foot. We're going to keep facing the front of the mat. And you want your feet this time like they're on train tracks. You don't want your feet to be sort of in line. You don't want to, if you drew a line from your front heel, you don't want it to hit the back toe. You're on train tracks. The reason why we're doing that is because it makes it a lot easier to square our hips to the front of the mat. The back toes are pointing to the top corner of your mat. And placing our hands on our hips, we're just going to bring in Warrior 2, when we have our body, our hips in line with the long edge of the mat. We're moving that now, and we want to have our hips face the front of the mat. Imagine you had headlights or laser pointers on your hip bones, and they're pointing directly in front of you. You can stand here. You can either have your hands on your hips, you can grab your elbows behind your back, or if you wanted, you could see if you can go into a reverse prayer, where you bring your hands in the back, bring like that. That's already great. Or you sneak them up, and then you bring your palms together for a reverse prayer. That's a bit of a tongue twister. Great, so we're standing here in our reverse prayer, if that's accessible. Inhale, we're opening our chest, puffing our chest up, hands together, pushing our elbows back. That helps us getting our palms together. And exhale, we're folding down, but we're stopping when at hip level. So our body is parallel, our torso is parallel to the ground. And here, now maybe pushing more into that front foot, pushing that left hip back a little more. Bring that right hip forward a little bit, pushing into the little toe side of that back right foot. Staying here for one more breath, looking down at the big toe on the left foot. Feeling how it feels to have that squareness in the hip here. Inhale, we're coming up. If you're in reverse prayer, you can leave your hands as they are. We're stepping forward. feet together. We have our hands still where they are. And now we're stepping back with the left foot. Same thing on this side. So again, bringing our front foot over a little bit, so we've got that train tracks alignment of our feet. The back foot, the right foot now is pointing to the front top corner, or almost to the front of the mat. And inhale, we're puffing our chest up, bring our shoulder blades back, hands together, and exhale, coming down, again stopping at parallel to the ground. Here, pressing in, feeling how that feels in our right leg now, where you feel the stretch. Playing around with your hips, trying to make sure that they're square. Looking at the right toe, right big toe, the right foot, the front foot. Staying here for one more breath. Inhale, exhale, inhale coming up, exhale stepping forward again, keeping our hands behind us, a little bit of balance challenge. Now releasing those hands, maybe shaking them if you felt that in your wrists. I feel that in the outside of my arms quite intensely. Do whatever you need to do with your hands to release them. And this pose was a really nice preparation of that squaring of the hip to the front of the mat that we need in Warrior One. I was thinking it's funny that Warrior One is much more difficult than Warrior Two. You would think it would become increasingly harder, but I'm going to step back into a Warrior One now. So stepping back with the right foot, not nearly as far as you would in Warrior Two. Going to keep that left leg, the front leg, straight at first. And again, we're placing our hands on our hips here and squaring them to the front of the mat. And now we're bending that front knee on an inhale. And if you can only bend it to here, that's fine. The bend is going to come as we improve and as we get used to this pose. And what's really important here is to press into the little toe side of the back foot, pressing that back heel down. Really, the back heel catapults you. The back heel or the back foot is what allows you to bend that front knee. And trying to bend it as much as you can. When you're there, still make sure that your hips are square, your body not leaning forward too much, but keeping your torso in over your hips, and inhale, arms overhead, looking to those thumbs if you can, shoulders away from the ears. There's a lot to be aware of in this pose. Pressing into the whole front foot, left foot, pressing into the back foot, keeping a bend. And a Warrior One is actually a little bit of a back bend. So maybe going a bit into a tiny back bend if that's comfortable for your back. Staying here for another 2 breaths, really feeling that counter struggle, push in the back foot, push in the front foot, feeling how your body is struggling to keep you in this pose. On the next inhale, we bring our hands into heart center, and we're stepping forward the back foot. Lovely. I found Warrior One of the most difficult poses to really get right, and as I work through it, I can feel that I get a bit deeper in the bend, but it's a really good pose to set up and pay attention to. You think, oh, it's just a warrior, I do it so often, but there's a lot of intention that you can put into those more common poses. All right, we're standing at the front of the mat again, toes together, and now we're stepping back with the left foot. Again, whoop. Balance here. Again, we have a little bit of train tracks, that makes it easier to face forward. Not as big a step as in our Warrior Two. Bring our hands to our hips, squaring those hips to the front. The toes of the back foot are pointing to the front of the mat. We're really pushing into that front foot as well. The right foot, toes are spread out. And inhale, we're bending that front knee, that right knee. And if you're only here, that's fine. It doesn't have to be a crazy bend. And inhale, raising our arms overhead, hands together, looking to the thumbs if that's comfortable, and pushing into the whole of the front foot for a solid grounding, pushing into the back foot, the little toe side of the foot, twisting here to square the hips, bending that front knee, maybe coming into a tiny back bend, feeling into it. Feel how if you make a tiny change, if you change the weight in your foot, how does that change the whole pose? Be curious in how your body is moving. And bring your hands into heart center and stepping forward. Well done. And if you now, let's just stand here at the front of our mat, maybe in Tadasana, arms by the side of our body, closing our eyes. And let's just feel where we have that sort of humming feeling that comes after a yoga pose. Where do you feel it? You'll feel, I personally feel Warrior One in my back from that little back bend, in my glutes a lot, my shoulders. That makes me remember that I need to pull my shoulders away from the ears. Just listening to your body, feeling those after effects of poses can be a really lovely, powerful way of getting to know how a pose affects you, because everybody is different. Opening our eyes, and we're going to do our balance, and our balance today is tree pose or Virasana. So with that we're bringing, again, we're going to spread our toes up, like lift our toes off the mat, spread them out, lower them down, raise our heels off the mat, and we're starting with the right leg. So for tree Virasana, you can either just keep your toes on the ground, just bring your heel over your calf, if that's enough. Today, maybe the heat is affecting your balance. If you want to go a bit deeper, you can bring the sole of the foot against the calf. Or if you want to go deeper still, you can bring your foot up, maybe help it with the hand, place it against the inner thigh. Whatever you do, don't press it against your knee. The knee is gentle, sort of either above or below the knee. Placing it down. Woo. The leggings are a bit slippy today. And hands into heart center. Try and find a point either on the floor or on the wall in front of you that doesn't move. It helps with balance. Stand here with your hands in heart center. If you want, once you're comfortable, you can raise your hands above your head, also in prayer, or you can open your arms like a tree. But as you're opening your arms, maybe you're spreading your fingers, you want to have engagement all through your fingers. The fingers are doing yoga as well. They're not just hanging there doing nothing. Imagine your fingers are the little branches that leaves and flowers come from. They're proud, they're reaching to the sun. Staying here for maybe 2 more breaths. Connecting with your breath. Using it as your anchor in this balance. And with the next inhale, let's bring our hands into heart center and releasing that foot. Lovely, maybe shaking that left foot out after the balance. And again, placing the right foot down, lifting the toes, spreading them out nice and wide, lifting the heel so that the whole foot is grounded nicely. And you can bring your left foot, again, either keeping the toes on the ground, sole of the left foot against the right shin, or I'm going to go deeper, bring it into the inner thigh, trying to bring your foot, the heel, as close to your groin as you can. Hands into heart center, and once you've found your balance, lifting the arms, either in prayer or nice and wide, the fingers. Fingers doing yoga as well, reaching to the sun. That's shining so much for us today. And we want to maybe open our hips out a little more, opening that knee out to the side, squaring those hips, those shoulders. And staying here. And bring your hands into heart center and releasing that foot. And giving our right foot a little bit of a shake if you need to. I feel that a lot more in my left foot. I guess when you're right-handed, the right side of your body tends to be stronger. So if you're left-handed, you might have felt it more in your left foot. And we're going to come down to our mats, but we're going to come down through Malasana or the garland pose or yogic squat. So we're going to have our feet a bit wider than hip width maybe. Hands in heart center. We're going to slowly lower down and going to come into the squat. We're going to bring our elbows inside our knees, pressing our elbows against the knees in our prayer pose. If you're falling back, that's fine. If you find it really difficult to balance here, you could get a block. I don't have a block here, but a nice big book as well. And you can place that below your bum. And you can just sit here and get used to this pose that way. If you can balance without a book or without a block, do that. And really pressing your hips apart. And here also getting the little toe side of your feet down. That my tendency at least is to almost lift it off, but getting the whole sole of the foot down. And staying here for another 2 breaths. Sitting up nice and tall, shoulders pulling down as well. So we don't want to roll up, we want to roll our back, we want to be nice and tall. And sitting down on our bum now. Lovely. I'm going to move you so you can see me better. There we go. Cool. All right. We are going to sit with our legs straight out. And we're going to come into seated, classic seated forward fold, Parsvottanasana. So we're going to bring our hands just behind or next to our hips and pressing into those little tend hands that we do, really sitting up nice and tall, chest open, toes are flexed, pointing up. And we're inhaling, filling that chest up with air. Exhale here one more time. Inhale, pumping up the chest, opening the chest, and exhale, we're folding from the hip here. Not the chest doesn't do anything, we're just folding from the hip. And we're grabbing wherever we can grab. If that's the shins, that's fine. If that's the heels, that's fine. If you can reach your big toes, also lovely. But it really doesn't matter. If you have a t-shirt or a towel or a belt, you could also just, I don't have a belt, but you could just take your t-shirt and wrap it around your feet like that. So coming wherever we are. Inhaling one more time wherever we've decided, committed to where we're going to stay. And exhale, pulling us down a little bit. By keeping our chest nice and open, we're not pulling ourselves aggressively and rounding the back. No, we're keeping the chest open, shoulder blades pulling together here, looking towards our big toes. And see where you can commit to. Inhale, exhale, now we're folding a bit deeper. Inhale, and breathing here, feeling the stretch in those hamstrings, in the backs of your knees. And next inhale, going to come up, and exhale, walking our hands in slowly. And we're going to bring our heels in. I'm going to sit in our cobbler pose. So we can bring our heels in nice and wide and bring our knees down as much as we can. Again, if your knees are up here, it's perfectly fine. You could bring a book or a block or cushions under your knees to support you. And you can have your knees your feet as far away from your groin as you need to be comfortable. The aim is to get them relatively close to your groin. And we're going to hold our feet. We're going to bring our hands are on the outside of the feet. We'll bring our thumbs to the sole of the foot, just below the ball of the foot. I'm going to see if we can open our feet like a book a little bit. I'm just going to sit here, looking at our feet for a moment. Again, sitting up nice and tall, shoulder blades together to open our chest. And if you want, you can inhale, sit nice and tall. If you want to go a bit deeper, you could fold forward here. And again, folding from back. The back is nice and flat. We're not rounding the back. That is a different pose. This pose is a different pose. We don't want that just now. We're going like this. Nice flat back, going as far as you want. If you wanted to, you want to give that a go, experimenting, you could let go of your feet and walk your hands out a little bit. Maybe that helps you to pull yourself forward a little, but again, don't round your back. Keep your chest nice and open. Feeling that stretch in the inner thighs. And staying here. And with the next inhale, we're going to walk our hands back slowly. Maybe bring our knees together, giving yourself a little hug. Maybe rocking back, having the balance, coming into this cosmic egg. And coming back down, coming back into our cobbler pose, Virabhadrasana. And now we're going to stretch our left leg out in front of us. We're coming into this almost like a seated tree. You've got this figure 4 shape that we did a moment ago. We're going to come into Janu Sirsasana, head to knee pose. So for that, we're going to place our hands, again, just slightly behind our hips, again in those little tent finger shapes. We're going to press into those hands, really raising ourselves up, nice long back. We're going to do a tiny micro twist so that our chest, our torso is over that straight leg. And again, if you have a towel, a top, or whatever, if you want to do this forward fold, you can use that. So inhaling here and exhaling again from the hip, hinging from the hip. You can grab either your shin, your ankle, your foot, or if you want, you can grab a towel or a belt or whatever. And staying here, inhaling and exhaling wherever you are, keeping the chest open. Again, as I said, trying to keep your back nice and flat. At some point when you're going quite low, you're going to round your back a little bit. That's just the anatomy of the back, but you don't want to round the back too much. We're staying here again, feeling that stretch in the back of the leg. Looking towards the big toe, the drishti. Your focal point is your front big toe. And again, by having that focal point, we're building concentration, one breath, one pose at a time. With the next inhale, we're going to now bring our left arm on the inside of that left leg. Or if that's a bit difficult, like bring it closer to your thigh, but we want it to be more on the inside of the calf. And we're going to stack our body here. We're coming into twisted, a reverse Janu Sirsasana. And imagine there's a wall that your foot is pressing against. You want to touch that same wall with your fingertips of the right hand. And you're stacking your shoulders nicely on top of each other. If you want, if that's comfortable, look towards the top hand, the right hand. If that's uncomfortable for your neck, just look to the big toe of your left foot again. Breathing here in this lovely twist. And looking down, bringing that right hand down as well and walking ourselves up, coming out of this twist. We're going to bring our left foot in again, coming into our cobbler pose for a moment again, just sitting here for 2 breaths. And with the next exhale, we're now straightening that right leg and coming into our Janu Sirsasana on the other side. And we're going to again place our hands just behind our hips, pushing ourselves up. Little micro twist so that our chest is facing our straight leg. Inhale and exhale, we're hinging from the hip, folding from the hip, grabbing our shin, our ankle, our foot, or a belt or top or whatever. And staying wherever you are, committing to what you've decided. Trying to do the same thing as you did on the other side, hopefully. Inhale, opening the chest, and exhale, folding down. And staying here, feeling that stretch on the back of the leg here. Looking towards the big toe of the right foot. and building that concentration. With the next inhale, we're now bringing our right arm on the inside of the right leg. Again, if you have to have it quite high up the thigh, that's fine, but try to bring it more towards the inside of the calf, imagining that your foot is pressing against the wall and opening our chest up to the front of the room, trying to touch that imaginary wall with your top arm, your left arm, and looking either to the left hand or to the right foot, depending on what's more comfortable for your neck. Staying here, breathing into this stretch, into this twist. And with the next exhale, placing our left hand down on the ground, and inhale, walking our hands up slowly, coming into one last Virabhadrasana. And maybe now we can butterfly our heels, our knees a little bit for a little dynamic stretch. Just a little bit of fun. And stopping the movement, bring our knees together, and we're going to come into, I've tried to have a bit of a think of what type of yoga poses are water related. I think we all need water hydration at these hot times. And let's come into our boat pose. Boat Navasana is great core exercise. We're going to bring our hands behind our knees, and we're going to rock back and lift, just bring up, lift our feet off the ground. If you want, you can bring your your shins parallel to the ground, staying here. If you want a bit more of a challenge, letting go of the knees, letting go of the legs. And if you want more of a challenge yet, you can straighten your legs. But if straightening your legs or letting go of your legs happens that you then collapse in your lower back, don't do it. So only go as far as you can. Today I find it a bit difficult to straighten my legs, so I think I'll just stay here. Doesn't matter if you've done a more intense version before, if someone else is doing a more intense version, just do what you need to do. Stay for 2 more breaths. And curling over, hugging your knees into your chest. See if you can leave your toes off the mat, balancing here. Looking up, we're going to do 2 more Navasanas. We'll have done 3 in total. So coming back into our Navasana, setting it up as if it's the first time we're doing it. And staying here. Breathing. Feeling your core starting to sing, starting to scream at you. Your drishti here, your focus point will be your feet or your big toes. Again, building that focus through this really challenging pose. And hugging your knees in for another moment. Lifting our head up, bringing our hands behind our knees again, coming into our last boat pose. Trying to keep your knees touching, not apart, knees touching, feet touching. And hugging your knees in again, last time. And placing your feet down. Lovely. One last pose now, which is the half Lord of the Fish stretch, which is quite an intense stretch. So the full stretch, I'll show you the full stretch first, and then we'll go through all the versions that we can do to get there. So for the full stretch, if you want, you can do it straight away if you think you're there. But we're going to place our left foot, well, I'll walk you through it in a moment. So it's like this, the one foot goes over the knee, and then we're going to try and grab our foot and twist over looking to the side. So that's the full pose. Let's do it in a few stages. So we're going to start with the right knee. Bring the right knee up here, and we're going to hug our knee in and look over our shoulder. If that's good for you, if that's comfortable and you want to go deeper, then we can cross our right leg over our left leg. And again, hug our knee in here, looking over our shoulder. If this is still okay for you, you want to go deeper still, you can now bend your left leg and bring it just sort of under your bottom. At any point, if you're like, you know what, I'm good, I'm going to stay where we just were, stay there. It doesn't matter what other people are doing. So you stay here, and again, just looking over your shoulder. If you now want to go into the full pose, you can try and see if you can bring your left elbow on the outside of your right knee, really pushing against that knee, levering, and then see if you can grab your left foot and place your right hand, the palm under your foot. And inhale, exhale, looking over the shoulder. I'm going to stay here for a moment. Feeling that stretch, squeezing our inner organs, squeezing all the blood out of it, so that in a moment all the fresh blood will rush in. And in the next inhale, we're going to look forward. We're going to, if you're holding your foot, let go of the foot. Now we're going to let go of the arm, stretch that right leg out, stretch that left leg out, and maybe just wiggle your legs, releasing that stretch and coming to stillness. We're going to do the same thing on the other side now. So for that, again, we're going in stages, because maybe one side is a lot more mobile than the other. We don't want to hurt ourselves just by doing what we've done on the other side. So we're going to bring our left knee in, and we're going to hug our left knee with the right arm and looking over our left shoulder. Lovely. If you can go deeper, bring that left foot over the right leg, and same thing again, hugging our arm, looking over the left shoulder. If you think you can go deeper still, we're going to bring that right leg now in, sitting just under our glute, under our sitting bone, hugging that left leg in, looking over our shoulder. Great. If you want to go deeper still, you can bring our elbow, our right elbow to the outside of the left leg, and see if we can place our hand, our palm under our foot. And breathing here for a few breaths. Feeling that stretch, feeling that rotation in our hip joint. The hip joints are ball and socket joints, like our shoulder joints. They're the most mobile that we have. They can handle this, hopefully. If you've got any hip problems, obviously hip replacements, be very gentle. Letting go of the foot if you've grabbed it, coming up, letting go of that arm, stretching the legs out, and wiggling our legs. We're going to lie on our backs for a little inversion, just a baby inversion today. Really gentle bridge, Setu Bandhasana, for which we're bringing our heels as close as we can to our bum, our feet, our knees are hip width apart. See if you can stroke your heels with your hands. We're going to raise our hips, and if you want, you can just place your hands stacked on top of each other under your hips today. Really gentle. If you have a block or a book from earlier, you could also just place that under your glutes. Just that would be super gentle and could be quite nice today as it's so hot. If you want to go a bit deeper, you can, on the inhale, we're raising our hip off the ground, middle back, upper back, pressing our palms into the ground, palms are on the mat. If you want, you can see if you can interlace your hands under your back, coming onto the balls of your shoulders and really pushing your hips up, chest to chin, curling through the whole back. We're staying wherever we are for 3 breaths now. In the full bridge that I am in right now, make sure that your knees are not falling out. You want your knees to point forward and keep the knees in the same distance away from each other. And if you're clasping your hands under your back, release. And we're going to roll down slowly, upper back first, middle back, lower back, and then tucking the pelvis. We're now going to hug our knees into our chest. Just going to rock from side to side, very gently. And we're going to have our knees fall to the right. Arms are out at a capital T. And we're looking to the left side. Palms are facing up. Really gentle twist here, belly twist. If you want to go more intense, you could cross your left leg over your right leg and intensify this through eagle legs, but you don't have to. You can also intensify the stretch by bringing your knees closer to your elbows. That makes it more intense as well, if you want to. With the next inhale, we're bringing our knees into our chest. We're dropping them to the other side. Arms still at capital T level. If you crossed your legs into eagle legs, do that here as well. So cross your right leg over your left leg and stay in this more intense twist. Breathing here, slowing your breath down. Practice is slowing down, coming to an end. With the next inhale, bringing our knees back into center, giving ourselves one final hug. Maybe bringing our forehead to our knees, and lowering down. And taking our final relaxation, you can either lie in Shavasana, corpse pose, feet hip width to mat width apart, palms facing the ceiling, hands about 3 inches, 15 centimeters away from the hips, chin slightly tucked, nice flat neck. If you want, you could also lie in Setu Bandhasana, so you could bring the soles of your feet to touch, make that diamond shape with your legs. Considering I've done quite a bit of Virabhadrasana today. If that feels good. And if it's so warm that you just can't face lying down, you could also just come into easy pose and just sit in easy cross-legged today. Whatever feels good for you. Wherever you are, just breathing into your body, noticing all the points of contact that your body has with the ground. If a window is open, maybe noticing where the wind, where the air is brushing your skin. Again, feeling into our body like we did after our Warrior 1, Virabhadrasana 1. How are we feeling after our yoga practice? Where are we feeling softer? Where are we feeling? Is there any tension that we've built up through this practice? It's important to know what poses don't work for you. Breathing here. Feeling how your legs are touching the ground, your glutes, your thighs, your calves, your heels are heavy on the ground. Your knees are relaxed, your toes are relaxed, your legs not holding any tension. Your entire legs are relaxed. Your hips are soft. Your abdomen moving up and down with the breath. Your lower back hovering over the ground or sitting nicely. Your chest also moving with the breath. Moving up on the inhale and down on the exhale. Up and down. Up and down. Your shoulders as well, moving with that breath. Your arms are relaxed, soft. Your elbows not holding any tension. Your palms facing the ceiling, your fingers gently curled in. Your arms are relaxed. Your torso is relaxed. Your entire upper body is relaxed. Your neck soft, nimble after those movements. Your head is not as heavy with thoughts. That moving meditation that is yoga does so much for our mental well-being. Our face is soft, our forehead not holding any tension. The muscles around our eyes are relaxed yet again, not needing to see anything, understand anything, focus on anything, just witnessing our breath. Our mouth is relaxed, our jaw is relaxed, the tongue just lying in the mouth, not glued to the roof of the mouth. Our head is relaxed. Our entire body is soft and relaxed. to your body. Come back to the room. Bring a little bit of movement into your body. Move your wrists, move your feet. Take a big inhale. Sigh on the exhale. Big inhale. Sigh on the exhale. One more time. Inhale. Hug your knees into your body if you're lying on your back. One at a time. Give yourself a nice big squeeze, rocking from side to side, and rock onto your right side. Place your head on your right upper arm, staying here for one breath. Placing your left hand in front of your face, pressing into that hand and coming up to a nice seated position. Going to do one little pranayama that is really great for this weather. It's a cooling pranayama. So for that we're going to, first we're going to bring our hands into, what is this mudra called again? Into Varun Mudra, which is for the, I think it's the god of water. And for that we bring our little finger, our pinky finger, and our big finger and our thumb to touch. I've seen it done with holding the knuckle, but I've also seen it done with just the fingertips touching. And that mudra is supposed to help the circulation of water through the body, hydration of the body, but also because we're again similar to Gyan Mudra, which is like this, we're creating that little circuit in, that little circle in our hands, creates a good communication within our body and hopefully with others as well. And for the pranayama, we're going to bring our teeth together, we're opening our lips, and we're inhaling through the mouth, through our teeth, making a bit of a sort of, I guess, slight hissing sound that we might hear ourselves. A bit like Hannibal Lecter. Clarence, but anyway, in a lot nicer way. So we're bringing our teeth to touch, we're inhaling through our teeth, we're closing our lips and exhaling through the nose. And you can feel how that breath through the teeth, it's almost feeling like you're drinking cold water. It's lovely and cooling. So let's do a couple of rounds of that. Maybe 2 more rounds. And just sitting in silence for a few breaths. With the next exhale, we're opening our eyes. Inhale, we're making a big circle with our arms, bringing our hands together overhead in prayer. And we're looking to the thumbs. Exhale, we're following the thumbs with our eyes. 2 more of those. Inhale, nice big circle. Exhale. One last time. Inhale, big circle. Exhale, following the thumbs with our eyes. Bring our thumbs to our third eye, the space between our eyebrows, for clear and kind thoughts. Bring our thumbs to our throat, for clear and kind words. Bring our thumbs to our heart center, for clear and kind feelings. Thank you very much for moving with me today. Be grateful that you took this time. Thank you very much. I hope you don't melt today. Have a lovely day, guys.